On the 8th day of Christmas, my pharaoh gave to me a plethora of defeated bullies. If you know me, you know there's nothing I like more than delivering some swift judgment to a bunch of ne'er-do-wells who have done and will never do well. Penalty games are, after all, the Christmas gift that keeps on giving. And having inhabited someone as unassuming and cute-coded as Yugi, there's basically a never-ending metaphorical conveyor belt of bullies for me to metaphorically convey my belt onto their asses. In other words, I'm constantly whooping bully booty. This has never been more apparent than when I went toe-to-toe with Joey Wheeler's former gangmates not once, but twice in the early Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga. At first, it seemed as though Joey had turned the other cheek a second time, which is like 2 whole cheeks, and rejoined his erstwhile assortment of assholes. Turned out Joey was only hanging with his old crew because they threatened to beat up every kid at Domino High School if he didn't. But Joey didn't think super far ahead because, of course, as soon as he joins up with them, they start kicking the kids' asses anyway, including Yugi's ass, which is the one ass that is off limits to everyone. You heard me. The only applicable punishment in this case, of course, is for me to go to the local tokusatsu warehouse where big fights happen and challenge these punks to a game. And oh boy, what a fun new game from Mattel this one is. The rules are, try not to get electrocuted while I stand on a rubber tire with my hands in my pockets like a pimp. Pharaoh pimp, baby. Yes, you see, one of their group had been knocked out by Joey. This is an important element of the game. You have to make sure you have a volunteer to be knocked unconscious. And when he woke up, he activated his taser in the middle of a big puddle. And if video games have taught me anything, it's that all my enemies are dumb enough to walk into a big pool of water and allow themselves to be electrified while I stand there looking cool as an ancient Egyptian cucumber. But shockingly, that wasn't enough to put the bullies away for good. They came back in a later volume where Joey had started to learn a bunch of yo-yo tricks, which proved rather dangerous for everyone in the surrounding area. Then again, if you ask me, it's not really a game unless you're risking the health and or lives of people you care about. A kid in class called Nezumi, which is Japanese for rat, so you know he's trustworthy, comments that there's a gang of kids beating the crap out of people with yo-yos. Then before you can say Sukeban Deka, we're back at the Tokusatsu warehouse once again, ready to deliver the swift pendulum of justice to a bunch of unsuspecting suspects. And yes, that very same gang of goons shows up, this time threatening us with their own yo-yos, which is rather like being taken hostage by a guy wielding a hula hoop. But no, trust me, this was very intimidating at the time. Joey's old gang boss Hirutani appears dressed like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson long before his hierarchy of power shifted. And these big jerks decide to hang Yugi by the chain of his Millennium Puzzle. Oh, I get it, they were turning him into a human yo-yo. Does that make Yugi a yu-yu? Anyway, yeah, they're gonna hang him to death, which means these guys are less bullies and more just attempted murderers. But hey, pot calling the kettle black before throwing it into the Shadow Realm there. Joey proves his mettle by taking a bunch of yo-yo hits to his entire anatomy, freeing Yugi and then taking the Millennium Puzzle and using it as a yo-yo? Excuse me, that is my house. I live there. Even putting aside the fact that it's a sacred artifact, are you going to clean up the mess that you just made in my spiritual man cave? He does this to gather all the enemy yo-yos to him, allowing me to take over and lure the gang up onto the Tokusatsu warehouse roof, which is about as cheaply made as most tokusatsu, proven by my ability to punch a yo-yo clean through it, enough times that it causes the thing to collapse and the bullies to fall all the way to the ground, aka the place where I previously had them electrocuted. I'm over here now. Meanwhilest, Joey uses his yo-yo expertise to knock his former gang leader off the roof, showing that he learned an important moral lesson from me, his BFF. That's best Pharaoh friend. Pharaoh spelled with an F because it's Joey who came up with it. And that lesson is, like a yo-yo, what goes around comes around. And if electrocution doesn't work, try dropping them from a really big height and let gravity do the work for you. That's the other lesson, but highly specific to this situation, really. Some of you might point out that there's a line of dialogue I have in the manga that implies these guys didn't die, they're just going to the hospital. But let me point out, I said that before I watched them all plummet multiple stories to the ground. Besides, I didn't call no ambulance. Did you? Huh? And unless one of those yo-yos doubles as a life call device, I can assure you, they've fallen and they cannot get up. So consider gifting your loved one a yo-yo this Christmas. They can be deadly in the right hands. Or the wrong hands in Joey's case. I'm still miffed about him using my dang house like that. That's not in keeping with the spirit of Christmas or the spirit of the Millennium Puzzle, which is me, damn it! But I hope your Christmas spirit is still alive and well, unlike those bullies I killed with my good friend and accomplice Joey. And whether you're in the shadow realm or the cold, heartless void that is reality, try to have a happy holiday season. Or else.